right. So we're diving into a topic a lot of you have been asking about.
Okay.
How have these societal changes impacted men?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it comes to relationships and marriage.
Right.
You know, a lot of you pointed us to this book,
Yeah.
Men Must Rise Again.
Claiming masculinity in a world that wants to erase it.
Yeah, reclaiming masculinity in a world that wants to erase it. So
Yeah.
let's unpack what's inside this thing.
The title itself is just like, what?
Right.
You know? And then even looking at the table of contents, you've got these hot button topics, gender equality, wokeness.
Yeah.
The challenges that men are facing today.
Challenges men are facing today.
Is a lot.
It feels like we're really in for a deep dive here.
We are. This book is going to take us on a journey.
Okay.
Starting with the historical view of masculinity, and then it's going to drill down into some really specific areas like marriage, the workplace, even this thing that the author calls psychological warfare.
Yeah, that psychological warfare thing.
That really piqued my interest. Just seeing it in the table of contents, it sounds like he's really suggesting that there's some sort of systemic effort to undermine masculinity.
Yeah, absolutely. And he starts off strong. Right out the gate, he's saying that this whole idea of gender equality,
Okay.
it's a myth. It just doesn't hold up.
Against.
When you put it up against biological and historical realities.
Interesting. Like, what kind of evidence does he use to back that up?
Well, he goes way back.
Okay.
You know, he uses examples like the building of empire,
Right.
the dominance of men in art during the Renaissance. He even talks about the role of men in shaping democracy.
Like
Historically.
Yeah.
And it's not just history, though.
Okay.
He brings in evolutionary psychology.
Interesting.
And he's talking about these hormones,
Estrogen, how they have this huge impact on behavior.
So he's saying that we can't just ignore
We can't ignore it.
these fundamental differences between men and women.
You can't ignore biology. Yeah, and his point is that if we try to ignore these things,
Right.
it actually leads to a lot of the dysfunction that we see in society, and it weakens the traditional family structure.
And that leads him right into this whole section
Okay.
called the tyranny of wokeness.
Okay, so that
This is where he really gets into this
he's going after.
ideology, and he's calling it an overreaching ideology.
So, like, what's he saying about wokeness?
Well, he says that, you know, while it aims for fairness, it's gone way too far.
Oh, so he's not saying...
He's not saying it's all bad.
Okay.
He's saying that it's just gone too far.
Interesting.
And it's created this situation where you've got censorship, you've got shame, and people are afraid to speak up.
They're afraid to speak their minds, especially
men
if they disagree
disagree
with the prevailing narrative.
with the narrative. And one of the areas he thinks this plays out the most
Right.
was in the media.
Okay.
And he analyzes how men are often portrayed like, you know,
Oh, the stereotype.
the stereotypes,
Yeah.
like the bumbling fool or the straight up villain.
Oh, yeah.
And he's arguing that this actually has a real impact
Yeah.
on men's self-esteem.
Okay, so this is where it starts to get really interesting, I think, especially for this audience. 'Cause
Okay.
the next chapter is titled The Marriage Plantation, a Modern Trap.
Oh boy.
And let me tell you, he does not hold back.
I bet he doesn't.
He really paints this stark picture of marriage as a system that's designed to disadvantage men.
Wow.
He's bringing out the statistics about the financial burdens of divorce and how often those burdens proportionately affect men.
Right.
And then he talks about child custody rulings that he sees as biased against fathers.
It's like he's saying that men are trapped
Yeah.
in this system that's working against them.
Yeah, this is a recurring theme throughout the book.
Interesting.
And it kind of leads into his discussion of emotional manipulation and vulnerability.
Right.
He claims there's this double bind for men.
So they're told to be vulnerable. Open up emotionally.
Yeah, and then
then
they're
what?
judged as weak.
They're judged as weak.
Yeah, it's a catch-20.
Exact. And he gives some examples of this happening both in the workplace and in relationships.
So what does he suggest men do?
Well, what I found valuable was that he actually offers some strategies
Right.
for men to kind of navigate these complexities.
Okay.
And he talks about, you know, the importance of assertive communication and building strong support networks, particularly with other men.
So like finding your tribe.
Exact. And this ties in really nicely with his discussion of red pill philosophy.
Right, because that's all about...
It encourages men to kind of step back and scrutinize these societal narratives
Yeah.
that they've been told.
Yeah, reclaim their identity.
Yeah.
Stop playing by the rules that they see as rigged.
Right. And he even uses this term,
What's that?
psychological war.
Whoa.
That there's this psychological war being waged against men.
That's a strong statement. It is, and it raises the question of, you know, how do we separate truth from propaganda?
Right.
And I think that's where critical thinking becomes so important. You can't just accept everything you read.
You got to think for yourself.
You got to think for yourself.
He's saying, wake up, guys.
Yeah.
The rules of the game are not what you think they are.
Exact. And ultimately, he ends this part with a call to action.
What's he want men to do?
He wants men to create their own safe spaces to become active in advocating for men's rights,
Okay.
and to work towards a future where traditional masculinity is valued again.
It's a pretty powerful ending to this section.
It is. It really leaves you with a lot to think about.
Definitely.
Whether you agree with everything he says or not, this book brings up some really important points that deserve further discussion.
I think so too. Okay, so we've touched on some of the big ideas from Men Must Rise Again.
Right.
But let's zoom in on a couple more specific things that really jumped out at me.
Yeah.
One of the chapters that everybody's talking about is this deep dive into what he calls woke culture.
Oh, yeah. This is where he really gets into like the nitty gritty
Right.
of what he sees as this ideology that has just infiltrated everything. Academia, the media, even corporations.
He even traces it back to the Frankfurt School.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
The whole history.
It is.
And he doesn't mince words.
No, he doesn't.
He's calling it a tyranny.
A tyranny of wokeness.
Tyranny that's created this whole culture of censorship.
Right.
Where people are just afraid to speak their minds.
Especially if they disagree
Especially if they disagree.
with the prevailing narrative.
The narrative.
Yeah.
And what's really striking
Yeah.
is how he links this woke ideology
To,
to the rise in anxiety and depression,
oh, wow.
particularly among young people.
Interesting.
And he argues that these woke narratives,
Yeah.
they're so focused on victimhood,
Right.
identity politics,
And it can create this feeling of
powerlessness.
powerless. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
you can't do anything about it.
And he uses some pretty powerful examples, like the case of James Damore,
Oh, yeah. The Google engineer.
a Google engineer who was fired for questioning the company's diversity policy.
That case really blew up
It blew up.
in the media
Yeah, and it brings up some serious questions about
about free speech.
free speech. And you know how much dissent is tolerated,
Even in
these environments that are supposed to be progressive.
right, it's like there's this unspoken rule book.
There is.
And if you step outside the lines,
Uh-oh.
you face the consequence,
You're in trouble. And the author argues
he says.
that this woke culture has basically weaponized shame,
Shame.
especially against men.
Interesting.
And he uses the example of
Kevin Hart.
Hart
Yeah.
being forced to step down from hosting the Oscars
Right over those old tweets.
over some old tweets that were considered offensive.
Yeah.
And that whole situation,
It really highlights
it highlights the double standard.
that he keeps talking about.
He's saying that women in similar situations
Right.
don't always face the same level of scrutiny
Or backlash.
or backlash. And he's got examples from social media
Yeah, or it seems like
where it seems like men are constantly
being called out.
being called out. Shame.
Yeah, for expressing opinions that challenge the status quo.
It makes you wonder if there's this like underlying fear
Yeah.
of male power or male expression.
Like any assertion of masculinity
Right.
is somehow perceived as a threat.
As a threat. And he ties all of this back
Yeah.
to the really alarmingly high rates of male suicide.
Oh, wow.
And he's arguing that this culture of shame and silencing
Contributes to the problem.
due to the problem.
That's heavy stuff.
It's heavy. And he even shares this really powerful story about a construction worker named John
Okay.
who lost his job during the pandemic
Okay.
and ended up taking his own life because he just felt like a complete failure.
That's heartbreaking.
It is. And it makes you realize how important it is to recognize those signs
The signs of depression.
in men.
Yeah.
And to make sure that they're getting support.
Because so often
Because so often
they suffered in
they
silence.
suffer in silence.
And he also talks about, the importance of community and connection for men.
Absolutely.
He talks about the benefits of, male support groups, things like sports.
Things that foster that sense of belonging,
Yeah.
shared experience.
And I think a lot of men are really craving that.
They are.
In a world that tells them to go it alone.
Yeah.
Suppress your emotions.
Be tough.
Be tough.
And he also talks about this emotional double bind that men face.
Oh, yeah.
Be strong and stoic,
Right. But also
be emotionally available and vulnerable.
like they're
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
exact. And he gives this example of this colleague
Okay.
who had a panic attack
Oh no.
during a work presentation.
During a presentation.
And basically his career was like,
Over.
yeah, it was never the same after that.
Oh.
It's a reminder that the workplace
Can be a minefield.
can be a minefield for men when it comes to expressing their emotions.
For sure. And of course we have to talk about
The chapter
the chapter that I think is probably resonating the most
with this audience.
with this audience.
The marriage plantation.
The marriage plantation. A modern trap.
Yeah, this is where he really lays out his case
Okay.
for how marriage has become this system that disadvantages men both financially and emotionally.
He really goes after the family court system,
He does.
arguing that it's biased against fathers.
In custody battles.
In custody battle.
He throws out statistics about the percentage of cases where mothers are awarded primary custody.
Even when
Fathers are actively seeking it.
that's a touchy subject.
It is. And I know that a lot of men
Community.
in this community feel very strongly about this.
They do.
And then on top of that, he also talks about the financial burdens of divorce.
Alimony.
Child support laws that often leave men struggling.
To make ends meet.
Just to make ends meet, yeah.
And his argument is that this system basically incentivizes women
To your divorce.
because they often come out ahead
Financially.
regardless of the circumstance.
Now, it's important to remember
Right.
that these are really complex issues.
They are.
And there are no easy answers.
No easy answers, and we're not here to take sides
Right.
or point fingers.
We're just trying to
Just trying to present the ideas.
the ideas
in the book.
and his perspective,
Right.
even if it's controversial,
Yeah.
does bring up some legitimate concerns
Absolutely.
that I think are worth discussing.
They're worth discussing. And he does offer some potential solution,
Like,
financial independence for men.
okay.
Setting clear boundaries
Degrees, yeah.
in relationship
Before getting married.
before getting married.
Yeah.
He even suggests that
That men should consider
alternatives.
to traditional marriage.
Wow.
Well,
What's interesting is that he acknowledges
A growing number of men
the growing number of men who are choosing to opt out.
opt out of marriage altogether.
Yeah.
It's like they're saying, I'm going to prioritize
My own well-being,
my own well-being.
my financial well-being
over this system
that I see as rigged.
that I see as rigged. And that brings us back to
The red pill philosophy.
his whole red pill idea.
This is where he's really encouraging men to examine the
We're
narratives
that they've been fed.
about relationship, about masculinity, about their place in society.
It's like he's saying, wake up, guys.
Yeah.
The rules of the game are not what you think they are.
Exactly. And this red pill thinking,
It involves
recognizing how men are often disadvantaged
by the current system.
by the current system,
And then figuring out
how to navigate.
how to navigate those structures more effectively.
He talks about being assertive,
Yeah.
setting boundaries.
Creating those strong support networks.
We've touched on all that.
Right.
But he takes it a step further.
He does.
He says men need to reclaim their power.
Stop playing the victim.
It's important to note, though,
It is important to note that this philosophy
Right.
isn't about hating women
it's not about
or trying to dominate them.
right. It's about empowering men
To take control of their own lives
Yeah.
and make choices
that align with their values.
that align with their values.
And ultimately, it's about creating a world
Where men and women can coexist and thrive,
Yeah.
but without
without those power imbalances.
those power imbalances that he sees as inherent in the current system.
So whether you agree with this whole philosophy or not,
Right.
it's definitely
Thought-provoking.
it's thought-provoking and it's resonating
With a lot of men
with a lot of men.
who feel like they've been dealt a bad hand.
It's a perspective that challenges a lot of conventional wisdom,
It does.
and it forces us to confront some uncomfortable truths.
About how our society operates.
Then at the end of the day,
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing.
Even if it makes people uncomfortable,
Right.
open and honest dialogue is essential. If
Absolutely.
we want to create a better future for everyone.
For everyone. All right, so we've covered a ton of ground with Men Must Rise Again, but there are a couple more nuggets I want to pull out before we wrap up.
Okay.
One thing that really got me thinking
Yeah.
was how he explores these historical and biological factors that have shaped traditional masculinity.
Right. Like, where does it come from?
Where does it come from?
Yeah.
And he's arguing that, these roles,
Yeah.
they are just some random social constructs.
Right.
They're deeply rooted in our evolutionary history and even in our biology.
It's like he's saying that this whole idea of being a protector and a provider,
Right.
it's not just some cultural expectation.
Not just something we made up.
Yeah, it's like wired into men's DNA.
It's part of who they are.
Yeah, and he takes us way back
Okay.
to illustrate this point.
So, what kind of examples does he use?
Well, he talks about, ancient times
Right.
when men's roles as hunters, warriors, and protectors were absolutely essential
For survival.
for survival of their communities.
Right.
And he even connects this to, the development of leadership qualities and risk-taking behavior.
So he's saying that's where it comes from?
Yeah, and he brings it all the way to the modern world.
Okay.
And he's saying that, even though specific tasks have changed, obviously.
Right. We're not hunting woolly mammoths anymore.
Right. But that underlying drive
To protect and provide.
to protect and provide is still there.
It's still part of what makes a man a man.
Yeah, and then he shifts gears a little bit
Okay.
and dives into the impact of feminism
Oh, interesting.
on things like education,
Okay.
the workplace, and family structure.
This is a big one.
It is, and he acknowledges that
Feminism.
feminism has led to progress in some areas.
Right.
But he also argues that there have been some unintended consequences.
Especially for men.
Especially for men, and he's not afraid to be critical of
see.
certain aspects of feminism.
So where does he think it's gone wrong?
Well, he's particularly concerned about the education system.
Okay.
He feels like it's become increasingly feminized.
In what way?
Well, he feels like it's leaving boys struggling to adapt and succeed.
Really?
He even cites some statistics about the declining academic performance of boys
Yeah.
and the rising rates of ADHD diagnoses.
So he's saying that, like, schools are set up
Yeah.
to favor girls' learning styles?
Yeah, he feels like the system is kind of
Leaving boys behind.
leaving boys behind. And this critique extends to the workplace, too.
Okay.
He talks about policies that prioritize diversity over merit and how those policies often disadvantage men.
Especially in fields that are traditionally dominated by women.
Exactly. And now, again, it's important to acknowledge that
Right.
these are complex issues with a lot of different perspectives.
Yeah.
And the author is coming at it from a particular viewpoint. But it's still valuable
To hear his take.
to hear his take and consider whether some policies,
Even if they're well-intentioned.
even if they're well-intentioned,
Right.
might be creating new imbalances.
New imbalance. Okay, then of course we got to talk about his chapter on fatherhood.
Oh, yeah. This is a big one.
And this is super relevant for this audience.
Absolutely.
And he's arguing that fathers
Are becoming increasingly marginalized
in modern society.
in modern society.
So how's that happening?
Well, he points to things like biased custody rulings.
Okay, we've talked about that.
We have, but also the lack of paternity leave
Yeah.
and the pressure on men to prioritize work over family.
It's like society is sending these mixed messages
Yeah.
about the importance of fatherhood.
On the one hand, we're saying fathers are important,
Right.
but on the other hand, we're not really supporting them.
Exactly. And he makes this really compelling case for how crucial fathers are, not just for their children's well-being,
Right.
but for society as a whole. So, like, what are the benefits?
Well, he argues that involved fathers contribute to stronger family, reduced crime rates, even greater economic stability.
Just like a ripple effect
Yeah, he even goes so far as to suggest that the decline of fatherhood
is linked to.
is linked to many of the social problems that we face today, like crime, poverty, mental health issues.
Pretty sobering thought.
It is. It really makes you realize how important it is.
To reevaluate our priority
Yeah.
and create a culture that supports and values fatherhood.
Absolutely. And it ties back to his overall message of empowering men to step up
Step up
and embrace their roles
as fathers.
as fathers and leaders.
Okay, now he also touches on the role of technology
Oh, yeah.
in shaping modern masculinity.
This is really interesting.
This is something we haven't really talked about much.
No, we haven't. And he explores how things like social media dating apps, even video games,
All this one.
can both empower and challenge traditional male roles.
So it's a double-edged sword.
Exactly. It's like, on the one hand, technology can offer these new ways for men to connect, build community, express themselves.
And that can be empowering.
It can, but it can also create these unrealistic expectations.
Right.
Fuel anxiety, contribute to a sense of isolation.
So what's the solution?
Well, he urges men to be mindful of how they're using technology, to be aware of those potential
Be aware of the downsides.
and to seek out positive role models
Yeah.
and create a digital environment
Supports their well-being.
that supports their well-being. Exact. And then finally,
Yeah.
he ends with this powerful call
Yeah.
for a restoration of male leadership.
So he's saying men need to step up and lead.
He's saying that men are naturally suited to leadership roles
Okay.
and that their unique strengths are essential for a thriving society.
So it's not about men dominating everything.
No, it's not about going back to some patriarchal system.
Right.
It's about a more balanced approach
Okay.
that recognizes the value of both male and female leadership.
I think we can all agree on that.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Men Must Rise Again,
Yeah.
what are some key takeaways for a listener?
Well, I think first and foremost, this book reminds us that masculinity
Isn't a one-size-fits-all concept?
There's a whole spectrum of experiences and perspectives.
Right.
And it's important to acknowledge and celebrate that diversity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It also highlights how important it is
To have these open and honest conversations
about the challenges men face.
about the challenges men face in modern society.
We need to move beyond these stereotypes.
The simplistic narrative
Yeah.
and really engage in meaningful dialogue.
I think that's key. And finally,
It's a call to action.
it is
It's a reminder that men have a responsibility
to themselves.
to themselves, their family, their community.
And it's a call to rise above the noise.
Yeah, reclaim their identity,
Create a future
where masculinity is celebrated,
demonized.
not demonized.
It's been a journey exploring this book, Men Must Rise Again. I hope this deep dive is giving you some valuable insight
Yeah.
and spark some thought-provoking conversation.
Some good conversation.
And if you want to explore these ideas further,
Yeah.
you can find Men Must Rise Again on platforms like Amazon Kindle,
Google Playbooks.
Google Playbooks, and remember,
This is just the beginning.
this is just the beginning.
Keep exploring these ideas, engage in respectful dialogue,
Yeah.
and most importantly, take action.
Take action.
The future of masculinity is in your hands.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll be back soon with another fascinating topic.
Looking forward to it.
Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and keep rising.